Hi everyone. Right now it's April 2020 and half the world's in lockdown due to COVID-19 pandemic. So I hope yous are all well and I hope yous are all staying safe. Okay, so I thought I would take the time that I have on my hands to show you how to make these flip shakers. I haven't made a video in years, so please bear with me. I am going to make so many mess ups with words and things. But anyway, this is what we're making. I'm just going to show you how to do the actual base card. The decoration's up to you. So you end up with a window that you can see from both sides. Okay. Right, so what you need to make this is, I've already made a start, sorry, just to help me out. Right, so you need a sheet of A4 in your base card colour and a sheet of contrast. The contrast can be paper as opposed to card, but if you use paper you will have to cut an extra base card frame to support the outer frame of the paper, this one, because the paper won't sort of live up to what you need to do with it to make the frame and put it on the shaker. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've cut a 6.2 strip off down the card to make it a 14.8 by 29.7 centimetre piece of card. Then I've scored it at 14.8, okay. Now I'll turn it around because it'll make more sense to you. I made a mark at 7.4, I didn't score it, I made a mark at 7.4 and then I scored 14.8. Then I turned it around, I made another mark 7.4, another mark 7.4 and another mark 7.4 to draw in that cross. This is going to help you if you're not confident eyeballing a die. This will help you to position the die. Okay, so you have got your base card ready. The only score line you do is that one, and you're probably going to have to do it again because the die cut machine tends to obliterate it. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, now you've got to this point, I'm going to show you everything else along the way, is to position your die. So the easiest way to do it, now you've got your cross, is measure the die, not the cutting line, the die, and this one's 9.5 from edge to edge. Okay, so half 9.5 is 4.75. So I am going to put my ruler along the cross at 4.75. I'm going to mark at 0 and 9.5. I'm going to turn it around and do the same that way. I normally just eyeball it, but it doesn't always work that well, I have to admit. Right, so now we've done that, you can position your die, which is where the repositionable tape comes in. Repositionable tape. So now you've got your marks, you can sit your die on those marks perfectly. So you know exactly it's going to be in the middle. Right, now this first die is the smaller one. Okay, we are going to cut this out completely. Okay, so die cut machine, I've got a Gemini, totally love me Gemini, apart from the fact it gets through so many plates. But there you go. Right, so I'm going to run this through the machine. And the Gemini has a reverse feature which I'm going to use just to speed things up a bit. Okay. So we now have our circle cut, the first one. So this is your aperture, this is going to be your window. So carefully take your die out. Take the tape off. Put that aside for the moment because we don't need it for this project. Take the opportunity to rub off your lines now. Just not the ones on the back. Leave that one on there. Right. Centre your die, your larger die around this first one, but only tape it at half of the die at this side nearest the crease as opposed to this side, the open edge. Right, so my machine works with the dies facing up, or that's how I use it anyhow. So now, to only partially cut your die put your top cutting board along that pencil line on the back there. Okay, then feed it through your machine. Sorry, that's me plait that keeps wafting into view as I turn my head. Right, so there you go. It's cut the half frame for us. Okay, so now gently take the tape off again. I'm just leaving it here because we're going to be using it. Normally I'll stick it on the side of my machine. Right, so this is what you have now. Okay, so what we want is this on the outside of the card. Okay, so what we're going to do is bend it so that that's on the outside, but just to make sure you've got it central, you are going to line your edge of your card up with your score line, regardless of what happens at this side, and then using your bone folder, you are going to gently just crease it in position. And that way, if you're slightly off, you fixed it. It's as simple as that, really. Right, so that's what you now have. So you've got this and the rest of your card. So now we're going to fold along the half crease. Okay. As I say, your machine may have squashed this out, so, but it'll still be indented into the card, so it should still go. So this is what we have now. Okay, right, so we're going to put that aside for a moment. Right, now what you need to do is cut your frames. I've gone ahead and done mine, but I'll still show you how to do it. The easiest way I have found when you need more than one of something to get them all identical is to tape them together before you cut. So tape the dies together. So I'm sort of fairly happy that this has got an even border all around. Okay, so now I can go ahead and cut my frames. So you're going to feed it through the machine, going to come out with that and like this. Yeah, so don't take the tape off the dies, literally just pop the center out, and then with your fingernail or with a bone folder or anything you've got to hand, push out the frame. Okay, so you're going to cut, just to be on the safe side, cut 2 of your main card colour and 1 of your contrast card colour. So that's your 3 frames. Okay, right, and while we're still playing with these, you need to take the centre frame out, the centre die out. Told you I'd get my work fixed up, because we're now going to cut the acetate. Now, it took me a long time to figure out how to do this through the die cut machine, because it would never cut it, and it's a very simple thing to do, only I haven't got a scrapper card to show you. Not without moving the camera. Anyway, I'm not going to do it. I'll kind of show you. Right, so what you would do is tape your die to the acetate, sit it on the machine plate the right way up so that it's cutting your way, then put a piece of card on the top, put your lid on, feed it through the machine, and when it comes out you'll see it will have cut through the card. So if it's cut through the card, which is on the top, it's definitely cut out your acetate. A quick tip, you can actually fold your acetate in half if it's big enough and cut 2 at the same time, just to save time. Okay, so you've now got, put that to one side again a minute. So you've now got 2 pieces of acetate, 3 frames and your card base. Okay, I hope I haven't missed anything out. Right, so now I used an embossing folder. I cut a piece of the contrast card slightly bigger than 14.8, so then I can trim it, and there's no chance that I'm going to end up with a little bit of white showing or anything. And then I put it through an embossing folder. So I've got mine prepared, so it's going to go in there like so. Okay, so you go ahead and do that now. I'm just not going to do it because it's just more time on the video. Right, so I'll get some things out of the way and then I'll show you something else. If you've got the shaker tape, by all means use it. I just don't really like it that much. But what I do instead is some regular sticky pads, you know, like a sheet with all the individual ones on, obviously not the teeny tiny ones. I use a craft knife. The blade's not too sharp, so this may not be wonderful. I use a craft knife and cut through the sheet, not all the way to the backing paper though. It's easier if you don't. You end up keeping them on the sheet this way. So we only need, unless you want to double layer it, I only need enough to go round one of the frames once, so that should be enough. I've only done one sticky pad, but I've cut them into, well, I'll see if I can bend this and then you can see. Yeah, there we go. I've cut them into like little slivers. Yeah, right. Okay. That. Right, so this is where your tiny 3mm tape comes in, because what we need to do is we're going to stick the acetate to the frames. Okay, so you can do it either way. You can put the sticky on the acetate, or you can put it on the frame. It's easier to see if you're putting it on the frame. So I'm going to go all the way around. This 3mm is brilliant for this because you can bend it. You can take it round corners. Yes, it creases, but it's not a problem, because you're going to go over it with your bone folder. Once I get to the end, I'll show you. You're going to go over it with your bone folder, and all those creases will come out, and it'll stick the sticky to the card. So it makes it quite easy to get the carrier paper off the tape. I'm trying to think 2 words ahead here, and my brain doesn't work like that. Especially, I'm on antibiotics and things at the minute as well, because I've got a poorly tooth. So my head's all over the place. Fortunately, I've got tear and tape, so I just do that. Right. So gently, because you don't want to distort your frame, go over the tape with your bone folder, just so it adheres to the card and you get those creases out. And then I'll lift it up and let you see. There we go. Right. So I'm not sure how much you can see with this, but I'm doing my best. There we go. Right, and I always use an old craft knife just to help me raise the paper, the carrier paper off the frame, off everything. Right. So it is much easier to put the acetate onto the frame rather than try and see the frame. Try and see the acetate through the frame. So frame to acetate to frame. It is going to be slightly bigger because it's exactly the same size as the frame. So there are places where you'll see it, but that isn't a problem. You just need to trim them off. Quick tip with scissors. If you use them straight on like that, you know, like 45-degree angle, great. But if you tilt them slightly to like that angle maybe, if I come close to the camera you might be able to see. You can get underneath, and it helps you get the edges off so that they don't show. I didn't explain that very well. I'm really sorry, but as I say, these meds have got my head done in. Plus the deepness, not getting a lot of sleep with this tooth either. Right. There's more of that than I thought. Right, there we go. Right, so that's what you're doing. Right, you're going to do the same thing with the other card base frame. Okay, this one, it doesn't matter if your frame's face up or face down because it's going to be hidden, either way. So again, I'm just going around and gently bending the tape around the curves. And I can't think of anything to say while I'm doing it. Sorry. I think I figured out how to edit the tape, actually. Edit the video, actually. So I might fast forward on some bits and shorten the video. Right, as I say, sorry about my hair. It's just, I'm used to it. But I'm only conscious of it because I'm doing this video. There we go. So we've burnished down that tape on there as well. So now we're going to peel that off and put the acetate on. See if I can do a better job this time. Probably not. Right, now it's probably, I should have said, it's probably a good idea to burnish it down as well, so it's not going to start coming away at some point. Right, got any bits to cut off? Oh, I did a better job that time. Right, now this, again, because we're working with acetate, it's easier to use this tape. You can use glue, it just takes forever to dry, and then you end up with a mess all over your acetate. And then you try rubbing it off, which sort of scratches your acetate, and it's just not worth the hassle. So this 3mm tape, I've always got some of this really thin tape in my craft stash. You can also use glossy accents, but you know, you use less, but you still end up with it on your acetate where you don't want it. So stick with the dry stuff. It makes much more sense and makes a lot less mess as well. Nearly there. Right. And we're there. Right. So because this isn't stuck to anything yet, I'm going to be gentle so I don't tear the frame. Burnish down the tape again. Okay. Gently peel off the carrier. Okay, so let me just check. Don't stick to that yet. Right. Let me brain go. Right. Just checking my brain out here. Right, so it doesn't matter which frame. Again, it's easier to take the acetate to the frame, but it's up to you. I'm not going to advise you either way because I do both. But this is the one that's going to be on the front, so you need to do your best to get it as lined up as you can. Oh, a quick tip from years ago, one of my ladies told me, if you've got a glue stick hanging around in your craft stash, after you've took the carrier tape off, though actually it's going to be messy, what they used to do was after they took the carrier tape off was to put the glue stick over the sticky tape, and it gives you time to maneuver it, but again you'll end up with a sticky mess on your frame. So just have a go, just do your best to get it in the right place. Okay, just do your best. Right, so we now have one piece with one frame on and one piece with the double frame on with acetate. Okay, so the one piece with just acetate on, we are going to stick straight onto here to create the other side of this half frame here. So again, back to the sticky tape. Doesn't matter which way you do it actually. So again, one more time, see what I mean? This 3mm tape is so useful. I mean, if you're doing this by hand, you might find it easier to make a wider frame. Or even if you're using dies, you might find it easier to skip a die in the middle and go for a wider frame, because that'll give you more room to play, really. You know, you can use whatever you want to stick it down with then. I just prefer little thin frames, just me. But we're almost there. I'm not sure what we're doing on time, but we're almost there for the bit I wanted to show you. When you got to do the shaker bits, and then we're done. I'm trying to hurry, so my tape's going all over the place. Right, nearly there again, I think. Oh yeah, that's why my tape's gone all over the place, because I passed the end. Right, fab. Again, burnish your tape down, gives you a better bond. Okay, oh, I mean to tell you, there are lots of products out there that are supposed to de-static, anti-static your Velcro. I've got sticky on my finger. That is meant to take the static off your acetate. I have tried loads of them. I've tried every tip there is under the sun, and I haven't found a one that I'm happy with. So I literally just rub it over with some tissue. I mean, I think probably the best one I've tried is a tumble dryer sheet, but I don't use tumble dryer sheets, so I've never got any. And I don't make shakers that often to keep a pack of tumble dryer sheets in, because they just dry out in the drawer. Right, there we go, I'm there. Right, burnish it down to make sure it's stuck. Oh, I'm nearly there. It's all right, just a sample. Right, so that's where we are so far. So you have your first acetate on your card, okay? Now, you can put your backing in anytime you want, it's up to you. Actually, I'll quickly do it now, only because I'm going to cheat and use me tape gun. Love this thing, makes life so much easier. I'd wanted one for years because I'd seen them on videos and I couldn't get my hands on any, and then Hobbycraft got them in, so I got the gun and a few refills. Don't get me wrong, the refills are 14 quid. The gun was 20, I think. The refills are 14 quid. And then they didn't have any refills for ages. And it was like, I kind of knew that was going to happen. But then suddenly they got some more in. So it was like, great. And the rate I craft, I probably get to a refill. And I don't use it all the time. I probably get through a refill every few weeks. Okay, so sorry, I should have been telling you this instead of telling you about the refills. Right, so I've stuck my contrast embossed piece of card in place, and as I said to you earlier, I deliberately made it slightly bigger so that I could trim any excess just to make sure there's no white showing. So that's where we're up to at the minute. Okay, so now is where the cut down sticky pads come into play, and I use a pair of tweezers. Someone years ago when I first started out said she used tweezers for everything, and I thought that was really funny. Now I use tweezers for everything as well. Right, this was kind of to prove a point to you about something. I know. I'm trying to not pull the tape off the top paper. Right, so because it's such a thin frame, I can cut these pieces of sticky any size I want. And yes, there is more kind of pulling off the papers to do, but they stay better. I just prefer it. I just don't like the shaker tape, and no matter what you do to it, the shakers stick to it. I just can't get around having the shakers not stick to it. So anyway, all I'm doing is butting these up next to each other so there are no gaps, so that nothing can fall out. Is my head in shot? Sort of. Sorry about the plait in the way again. Can't help it. As I say, I don't notice it. But I'm only noticing it because I'm doing this video. Obviously, I'm so used to it being there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I wanted to. I've got some little notes next to me, which I'll now cover up with everything else. Did that one. Yeah. Oh, good. I've covered everything. Right. That's a surprise. I made one video last night, but the camera wasn't in the right position and I didn't have the light on, so everything passing by on the road across the way was altering the daylight coming through the window next to me. And I made a few sort of word mistakes that annoyed me. So, and I don't know how to edit it, though. Having said that, I do think I figured out how to do it, I think. But anyway, so I'm not using the one I made last night. Then this is my third start at doing this one today. So I'm hoping that I don't do too many bloopers and that I can't edit it, so I can speed up bits if I can, and just need it to be as short as possible but to still show you everything. Right, as you say, I burnished the tape down on that as well. Right, I need some shakers to put in here, something quick to hand. I mean, you can double those up if you want a deeper shaker. There are lots of different shakers. I've got plasticky ones, I've got metal ones, plasticky ones. Sorry if I'm not able to see better. There we go. Oh, nice purple there. Look at a few of those. Right, so what I tend to do is put something down on here to stop that flipping up while I'm putting my shakers in place. Okay, so I'm just going to slap a few, terrible word, I'm just going to gently put a few shakers in there. I can't advise you how much in the way of shakers to use. It's personal preference and I never get it right. But it doesn't stop me making shakers. Right, so now I'm going to peel these bits of tape off one at a time, and then I'm going to turn it over so I can see the front, to make sure that none of the stickers are shown, none of the sticky tape shown. Yeah, this will be a bit, I'll fast forward if I can get away with it, but it's a case of, I'm wondering, like, I'm talking as I go, am I going to be taking away some of the stuff I'm telling you by fast forwarding on things? I don't know, because I've never edited a video before. Right, I should have staticked it, you know, took the stuff off, but it's too late now. Right, now I need to get that bit out of there. There's a little marking there annoying me. Right, do your best anyway, get the static off. Talcum powder does work, but I don't have that either usually. Right, okay, so now, oh, there's a little yellow star in there that I definitely do not want. It's one of them plasticky things. That is even more static than usual. Ugh, got it, get out. Right, so now you're going to stick the top on your shaker. So try and hold it still and start from this edge, because this is the end you're going to see the most, because this is the bit that sticks out into the card. Now I'm doing my best to line it up. It's probably not going to happen because I'm doing it too fast, so take your time and get yours lined up the best you can. And them shakers look quite nice in there. Right, so there we go. So that's how you do the basic. Now I've cut some things ready. I'm going to put like a plant pot here on 3D pads, so it's like level with that, with some flowers there, maybe some of them maybe behind them, and I've cut some candy probably to go down here, and I've got another piece to go in the middle of the flower. So I'll finish it off, and I'll use that as I'll use the finished card as the image on the website when I upload it, so you know what it is. Okay, thank you, stay safe everyone.